Shalom, and welcome back to The Hidden Chosen. I am Hadassah Saiwan, and I am back with another bunch of studies. I can't call them new because we have taken a look at the Beast of Revelation when I did the entire series on the entire book of Revelation. Now, that was more than a year ago, and we need to keep this knowledge fresh in our minds because what is happening in the world around us before our very eyes are these beasts getting themselves ready to rise up, and we can't forget. We can't forget. We have to pay attention and know what is going on. And when we know what is going on, then fear will not grip our hearts. Anxiety wouldn't come. Okay? We will know that our redemption draws near. So all we need to do is look up. Now, this is called End Times Prophecy Watch. I do have another channel that I was doing a lot of these smaller studies on, but it's a little bit too time consuming for now. So regardless, it is still End Times Prophecy Watch that we're doing, and we're going to take a look at the first beast of Revelation. This is part one. There are many segments to this particular study, but what I want to do is look at these entities alone by themselves so that you can have a clear picture when you go back to read the book of Revelation. Okay, so let's get started. There are two beasts in the book of Revelation, and today we will look at the first beast. Many have concluded that this first beast is the anti-Messiah, but it is not. We have to look at the language carefully to see what Yawachanan was saying. Once we are clear about what this first beast is, then the second beast will also be clear. So this is the mistake that many people make. They say the first beast is the anti-Messiah, the second beast is the false prophet. Well, the anti-Messiah is the false prophet. Okay? And that is a huge error that many people have made today. So let's look at the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. This is what we need to understand. Yawachanan was given a vision with a lot of symbolisms, a lot of imageries, that when Ruach HaKodesh brings the revelation, will speak volumes to us to give us understanding about the times we're living in. Now, Yawachanan would not necessarily understand what he was seeing, but he was told to write what he saw. Okay, just like Dana Ya'al. He did not understand even when the revelation was given to him. He still could not understand what he was seeing, because what these two servants of the Most High witnessed was far beyond their time. Okay? So they could not understand it. But we today, we can understand these prophecies because they were meant and still are meant for our time today. All right. Now, the difference between understanding these prophecies and not understanding has to do with Ruach HaKodesh revealing them, or he is not revealing them. And many people, even though they are apparent to us today, cannot understand is because revelation has not been given to them. In later studies, we will look at the components of this beast, like the heads, the horns, and the crowns. But first, we have to understand this beast. Yawachanan saw this first beast ascending from the sea. This is all prophetic imagery that will speak volumes if you understand its symbolisms. Sea, like waters, is oftentimes symbolic of peoples, multitudes from many nations. All right, so let's look at Danayal chapter 7, verse 2. Danayal spoke and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And the four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. So let's drop down now to verse 37. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. So here, what we have to see and understand, what Danayal saw, there were not kings as in an emperor, a leader. This king here is speaking of kingdoms. All right, because we know the four kingdoms that rose out of peoples. All right, what we are looking at is what came out of the great sea. And that great sea is symbolic of multitudes, peoples, nations. All right? But these four kings are actually four kingdoms, and kingdoms are made up of people. All right? Let's look at Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. And he said unto me, the waters which you saw where the horse sits are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So here there's more evidence to show us what the meaning of the word sea, its symbolism, what it is speaking to us, what it means to us. It means multitudes and peoples and nations and tongues. And what rises up from multitudes and nations and tongues but people of the earth? Either a king, an actual leader, or a kingdom, which is made up of these same people. We see in Revelation 17 and Daniel chapter 7 the use of symbolisms in the vision which the servants of Alahayam had but could not understand what they were seeing. It is for this reason why we need help interpreting the prophetic imagery, and Ruach HaKodesh is the only one who can help us with this today. Alahayam Yahweh sent his angels to help the prophets and his servants to understand his prophecies. We see that the interpretations given to these servants of Alahayam concerning the waters, sea, and earth were interpreted as peoples, and not just people in a region, but a vast and variety of peoples. That's why he said peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Tongues is telling us languages, people that are speaking different languages. So that means that they're people from different locations. All right? Let's look at Daniel chapter 7, verse 15. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made known to me the interpretation of the things. Daniel saw the vision of the four kingdoms, the last being the worst of them all, the fourth kingdom. And he was deeply troubled because what he saw was terrifying. And yet he could not understand what he was seeing. So he asked the angel, and the angel gave him the interpretation. All right? So our understanding of prophetic imagery, of prophecy, cannot come from ourselves, cannot come from a dictionary. It has to come through Ruach HaKodesh. Today, back in the days before Ruach HaKodesh came, it was through the angels who were sent by Alahayam to his servants. Okay? Let's read on. Daniel chapter 10, verse 12. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the day that you set your heart to understand and to chasten yourself before Alahayam, your words were heard, and I am come for your words. Now I am come. Let's drop down to verse 14. Now I am come to make you understand what shall befall your people in the latter days. For yet the vision is for many days. So the latter days is speaking of the end times. Servants of Alahayam cannot understand his prophecies unless they were revealed to them. Therefore, the first beast of Revelation is misunderstood and taught in error to be a man, when in fact it is a kingdom, an empire. This is the reason why it is emerging out of many peoples and nations and tongues to indicate to us that it will be a vast empire enveloping the entire world. It's going to be a world dominating empire, just like the Babylonian Empire, just like the Medes and Persian, just like the Greek Empire, just like the Roman Empire. Keep that last one in your mind. All right. This then will be fitting for the coming new world order that was spoken about by many leaders for many years. This will be the beast empire, a technology focused and empowered empire. And this is the reason why technology has greatly increased and overwhelmed the world today. Technology will be greatly developed to be used as a weapon against mankind without them knowing until it is too late. That's why a lot of people today have fallen in love with technology. And this is the danger we're walking in when we are in love with technology. All right? Big danger. Daniel could not describe this beast which he saw because it was technology. This is the fourth beast. Something he had never seen before, as it was well ahead of his time. What was revealed to him was symbolic of what we know as the beast empire number 7. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 3. Now we're looking at verse 2. And the beast that I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Let's go back now to Daniel chapter 7 verse 4. The first beast was like a lion and had eagle's wings. So this is Daniel's vision that he saw of these 4 empires. All right, drop down to verse number 5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear. Verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. That iron should tell you something about what this empire is going to be made up of. technology. That's what he was saying. He couldn't understand that it was technology because it didn't exist in his day. That's why it had great iron teeth. And look at what these teeth are going to do. It devoured and broke in pieces and stomped the residue with the feet of it. What or who are the residue? Talking about the people of Alahayam. Because we know that this empire is going to come out against the northern kingdom. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. So we know that it has 10 horns, reflecting back to Revelation chapter 13 with the beast that had 10 horns, 7 heads, and 10 and 7 crowns upon the 7 heads. All right? All connecting together now. All connecting together. The reason why Danayal could not describe the fourth beast was because it is the first beast of Revelation, which is comprised of all the animal beast empires that existed before it. What we are to understand from Danayal's prophecy is that the first beast of Revelation is made up of past world dominating empires that didn't die. They were just reabsorbed every time they were conquered. Remember, each of these empires are possessed with a Satan. And when one conquered the other, the Satan just moves along. And whatever is like the essence of that empire is reabsorbed into the next. That's why you see when you look at the Babylonian Empire, and you look at the Medes and Persians and the Greek Empire and even the Roman Empire, there are a lot of similarities about the gods that they worship. A lot of similarities about the things that they do. They're in the pagan worship. A lot of similarities. A lot of all the symbols that they use, they use the same kinds of demonic symbols. Because when one empire is taken down, it just doesn't vanish. It is absorbed into the next empire. Because what the devils want to do is they want to build the ultimate empire. So they take the best of the empire that they have just conquered and absorbed it into themselves. And when you think that one empire is conquered by another, that is because there is a war between the peoples. That's what it looks on the outside. But when you look at it from a spiritual point of view, it is the devils that are building the ultimate machine. And that's why this fourth beast is going to be, it is already comprised of the 3 beasts that were before it. And that's why in Revelation chapter 13, verse 2, when Yahuwahanan saw the beast, it is made up of the very same animals that represent the beast from the previous empires. All right? That's what we're supposed to see. But we can't see this and we can't know this unless it is revealed to us by Ruach HaKodesh. Let's read on. We're speaking of the Babylonian, Medes and Persian, and finally Greek empires, all reabsorbed into the Roman Empire. Because the Babylonian was absorbed into the Medes and Persians were absorbed into the Greek Empire, and the Greek Empire was absorbed into the Roman Empire, which is all of the 3 before it. So the Roman Empire is comprised of all the other 3 animals, the other 3 empires. And yet, this is not the last empire. So the Roman Empire that we know from way back in the days of our forefathers, although it is an offshoot of that, because this empire didn't die. None of these empires actually died. They just were reabsorbed. But the Roman Empire now is the only one that remained hidden. And not only did it remain hidden, but it started to spawn offshoots of itself, because it has a purpose. And that purpose is to rise up one day to be the world dominating empire on the earth. This was confirmed when Yawakinan saw the first beast as having a body of a leopard, symbolic of speed, because this empire will arise speedily and engulf the entire world speedily. Speaking of the seventh beast empire, all right, it's going to rise up quickly, and it's going to devour the entire earth quickly. The feet of a bear, symbolic of its power to destroy by stamping out those who will not comply. All right? And the mouth of a lion is symbolic of how it will use its words, which will be very powerful, to either persuade people into total submission or to invoke great fear and terror in people, bringing them under their complete control and domination. Remember what happened in 2020? They used a lot of words, create mandates, and because of that, it brought about fear, which brought about submission. Well, this empire, when it rises up, is going to be worse than what happened in 2020. All right? This beast empire will be incredibly powerful to do all of its evil deeds, as the Satan will give it his power, his seat meaning his throne, and his authority meaning to rule. The Satans by this time will have complete control over the world, but not over the people of Alahayam. All right? And Alahayam is going to permit them. This beast is waiting in the shadows right now to rise up. Alahayam will not permit it to rise up because it is not time. He's the one who is withholding them. You see, they can make their plans and they can bring about their agendas and their narratives, but they can't really do anything unless he gives them permission to do it. They still have to wait on him to say to them, go ahead. Revelation chapter 13, verse 4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. That's 3.5 years. This is how long the beast empire and anti-Messiah are going to rule on the earth. Only 3.5 years. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Alahayam, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. We will be returning to this beast, especially verse 3, which is skipped for now until we look at the heads of the beast. We will also return when we look at the northern kingdom's regathering. But notice that this beast empire will only be allowed to reign on the earth for 3.5 years, because Alahayam will halt it in its tracks. We too will look, this too we will look at to complete the study about this beast. Although a male pronoun is given to this beast, like all the symbolisms in prophecy, male or female pronouns are also used. We cannot assume that Alahayam is speaking specifically of a man, because he is not. This is the manner in which Alahayam speaks to his people, to ensure that only those who have ears to hear will hear and understand what he is talking about. Those who do not understand will perish, and this is his intention as well. Why is this relevant for us today? Because the parts and pieces of this evil beast system are coming together through nefarious means, and the beast is taking shape, soon to rise up. As we continue these studies, you will see that the components which make up this first beast are all here, but they cannot activate their evil agenda, which is the beast, as yet. That beast number 7, that empire, can't rise up yet. Alahayam is restricting them. As his people, the southern kingdom, must be out of the way first. Then he will allow them to continue on. So what does this mean for us today? We need to get ourselves ready, for our time of redemption is drawing nearer and nearer every day. Take heed, brethren. And this is the ending of this part 1, because I just want to focus on the beast, what the beast symbolizes. And we see, when we compare this beast and the language being used to other prophecies and the interpretations that were given, that this beast cannot be anything but a kingdom, an empire. It cannot be a man. All right? So this beast is the first to rise up. This empire will rise up because it has to create the environment for the anti-Messiah. You see, a king needs a kingdom. So the kingdom is going to be established, and then the king will rise up next. All right? So let's conclude with the blessing for Yashoal taken from Ba Madabar, chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. That's Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. Yabarakak Yahweh wa Yashamarak. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. Ya'ar Yahweh panayo alayak wa yachanak. May Yahweh cause his face to shine upon you and have favor upon you. Yasha'ar Yahweh panayo alayak wa yasham lak shalom. May Yahweh lift up his face upon you and give you peace. And now I'm going to recite the command we were instructed to recite when we lie down, when we get up, when we go out, and when we come in, taken from the Barayam chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. That's Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. Shama o Yashwa'al, Yahweh Alahayana, Yahweh Achad, wa Achabath Ath, Yahweh Alahayak, Bakal Babak, Wabakal Napashak, Wabakal Ma'adak. Hear, O Yashwa'al, Yahweh our Alahayam is one Yahweh, and you shall love Yahweh your Alahayam with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And with that, I will say, Shalom, Shalom, all praises to the Most High, Abba Yah.